How many of you guys watching have ever had that feeling of being completely overwhelmed with a million things to do and your mind just racing at 100 miles per hour to keep up? We're all such busy people. We have jobs, we have families, we have social lives that we're trying to maintain. We may be in college, trying to take a class, learn something new. And then if there's time left over, we try to experience our passions like hobbies and traveling and other things that we don't really have time for. Now, how in the world are we supposed to keep up with all these different priorities in life? A lot of people will just focus on the tools like different apps for checklists or to-do lists or calendars or note-taking, but at the end of the day, none of these apps matter. What really matters is the system you put in place behind all of these tools. In this video, I want to show you a concept called brain dumping. Now, chances are if you're watching this, you have probably done a version of a brain dump at some point in your life. Basically, what you want to do is take 10-20 minutes of time, block it off on your calendar, and just sit down and write out everything and anything that's on your mind. The key here is to write down any task that comes to mind, regardless of how big or small it is. It could be something for college or your work that you have to do that's due later in the week. It could be a grocery list of things you have to buy for your food at home. It could be things you have to do at home on your computer, cleaning things up. Honestly, anything that comes to mind, no matter how big or small or what it's for, write the task down. Now, one thing I want to reiterate over here, it does not matter how you write this down. If you are someone that likes using pen and paper, just do that. Don't think twice about it. If you just want to use your notes app on your phone, do that. That's also fine. There are also a bunch of to-do list apps out there in the App Store. Don't worry about picking the right one. Just get one and use it. It really does not matter how you do this. Just pick something that's comfortable for you and something that you honestly feel that will be something you can maintain over time. I recommend using the built-in reminders app on your phone. It's a great place to start. It has all the basic functionality that you need out of the box. Now, once you do your brain dump, you're going to end up with this massive list of things you have to get done. And I know it's very overwhelming to see all of this, but I hope the experience of writing everything out was one, therapeutic, and now secondly, you have the opportunity to organize this in a way where you can actually accomplish all of the things you wrote down. And I personally feel the way you organize it is the most important. So let me show you my system that I feel works for most people. My first piece of advice is do not overcomplicate how you categorize. I used to have this crazy color-coded system, so I would have a personal category, then below that I'd have a finance category, and I would put all my personal finance stuff under that one little category. But this got very annoying because I'd end up with 100 subcategories and it was just not efficient. I didn't keep up with it. So keep it high level, keep it basic. Don't worry too much about how specific you get. Just keep it as simple as possible. The way I categorize my tasks is actually a technique taken from a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read this book earlier this year, it completely changed my life, but all it says is organize your tasks by the different roles you play in life. So to explain what that means, take me for an example. One role I play is I'm an individual. I have my own personal tasks that I have to do, so I have a personal section. Secondly, I'm an employee of a company, so I have a work section for that. Third, I have a fiance, so I have a section just for us. Fourth, I consider myself a friend of many people. I also have family members I talk to quite regularly, so I have a social category. Fifth, I volunteer a lot of my time for Cause Foundation for Sicky to the Max work, so I have a cause section. And then sixth, I'm also considering myself a YouTuber at this point, so I have a whole YouTube section as well. So consider the categories of your life. What kind of person are you to other people around you? The different roles and responsibilities you have will define your categories. Now again, I want to hammer the point, don't get caught up in the logistical ways you categorize. You can always go back and edit these categories later. Keep it as simple as possible. All you want to do is be able to put different buckets up so you can categorize your tasks. So once you define your categories, the next step here is to go through your brain dump and assign each task to the right category. This should hopefully make your list much more cleaner and much more manageable. And don't be afraid to keep adding things as you do this. You want to keep thinking of new things that come to mind and just write them down. Don't leave anything out. Once you have your backlog of tasks, what you want to figure out now is how you're going to maintain this. What I do, and I've tried doing really hard, is I always add tasks to my backlog as I think of them. So I personally only do brain dumps when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I have a lot on my mind. But in regular daily life, I try my best to add things to the backlog as I think of them, so I don't have to do a whole brain dump to keep this updated. But with that being said, remember what I said before, don't worry about how you do this. If you would prefer to do a brain dump every single week, that is also a great method. Go on your calendar every Sunday morning, do a half-hour brain dump of all the things on your mind, and just add to this backlog of tasks. The key part is finding a system that works for you. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. The next step here is to actually execute on these tasks. Now, I have a whole video dedicated to talking about planning for tomorrow today. I strongly suggest watching that. I'll leave the link for it down below. But all it does, it means you plan for tomorrow today. So every night you take some tasks from your backlog and you put them on your to-do list for the next day. And that's a great way of slowly chipping away at your backlog while you're continually getting things done. Another way you can do this is not even make a to-do list for every day, but just put a date on every single task in your backlog, and that will become your daily to-do list. Just see what's coming up that's due tomorrow, and you can work on those things. Another way you can do it is set monthly milestones. So put a month that you want to accomplish certain tasks in, and you could work off of that. Again, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Find a way that works for you. The key part is doing a brain dump, writing everything out, no matter how big or small it is, and then making sure you're keeping that list updated regularly, whether it's every day or every week. If you have any comments or suggestions for different techniques on how you would use your brain dump, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching. I post videos every single week about tech and productivity, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.